Hey, everybody. Welcome to our afternoon session. I want to introduce you to Mark Snoad over here. Look, we have the family. Mark, introduce your family.
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. Kia ora, from New Zealand. Kia ora is a greeting, a Maori greeting, and also can be said, well done.
I'd love to. Kia ora,
Oh, and you have the portal has now opened.
What do I need to do here?
You have it on open on another tab. The portal has now opened. I bet you have like 3 of the
There we go.
YouTube.
Let's go. There we go. Sorted. That was fun.
Yes, fantasy in real life. There we go.
That was echoing. Yeah, I had to open another portal. So I'll start again. That was take 2. Kia ora from New Zealand. I'm Mark. This is my youngest daughter, Hannah. And this is Wilbur, our 5-month-old little puppy who would like to be on the show. Yeah, lovely to be here. Yes. And my other daughter is still, Michaela, still sleeping, and Kimberly as well.
So we want to thank you so much, Mark, for being here. I'm going to pop Mark up on the screen with his, Naomi said, hi, Hannah, the pup. Yep. So, Mark, I am dropping off while I'm in that chat, and people are already starting to wave at you and say hello. And take it away.
Wonderful. Well, kia ora again. So kia ora from New Zealand. Is Sunday morning, the 14th of August. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. So it's nice to meet y'all, as Jen might say. It's a real honor to participate today, and just, I guess, sharing a little bit of my journey as a writer. So it's a real honor, as I said, to be here and to do this with you. So once upon a time, at the age of 10, I won my school's writing competition with a short story about a magic sword. And it was quite interesting because of my book prize. So the winner of the short story won a prize, and my prize, I chose a Bible. And that was interesting because I really didn't come from a Christian home. So we didn't really, we went to Sunday school a little bit, but I think that was partly so we could go out and do something and get some cookies and morning tea. But I chose a Bible, which kind of, interesting thought going forward. I had an early love of fantasy. So my dad did too. But so some of the books that I was reading at the time, Tolkien, as some of you know, and I come from Middle Earth, Aotearoa, New Zealand, but also the Sword of Shannara, and all the wonderful books that Terry Brooks wrote, David Eddings, Raymond E. Feast, and that was a continued love of fantasy through authors like Robert Jordan and Peter Brett and Brandon Sanderson. And then I also kind of had a little bit of splash of humor. It's funny, the first time I read Terry Pratchett, I was kind of going, hang on, are you making fun of the fantasy genre that I love? And then I loved the real joy in Terry Pratchett's writing and how insightful and brilliant he was and the humor he used. And then Douglas Adams was just, very funny. And it was interesting because I've probably, in my writing that I've developed, is a little splash of humor in my writing as well. I went to Bible college, so I've been a year at Bible college some time ago. So yes, quite a long time ago. And I did an essay at Bible college, and it was, can fantasy be used to share the gospel? And it was a privilege to write. And in the essay, I looked at Tolkien and I looked at C.S. Lewis, and I used their example to say, can the gospel shared? And I thought, yes, it can. It's a great way of introducing people to the gospel elements through a world that they connect with. So it was very, very clear that it can be used. And it was kind of at that stage that I was going, this is something that I would like to do. I would love to be able to write a fantasy novel that had an aspect of the gospel to it, or aspect of who God is. So that was what I was thinking. I want to do this. I'd love to do this. However, life happens. So in my life, I've been a Christian youth worker with Youth for Christ. I've been a teacher. So I'm currently assistant principal at Ormiston Senior College. and I get to work with wonderful young people. So I teach economics and accounting and business studies. So it's a busy job, and it's a rewarding job and a challenging job, but it does take a bit of time. Husband, as I said to Kimberly, Kimberly and I've been married for 32 years, so we're doing okay. I'm a dad as well to Hannah. You met Hannah and Michaela, and also I've done a master's degree in educational leadership, so that was also fun. And of course, I'm a bill payer, so I have to pay the bills that we have. So I had this kind of dream, this kind of desire to write, but it kind of influenced by a lot of other things that are going on in life, and I wasn't really able to commit a lot of time to it. And then one night I had a really late night prompt, and the prompt was, it's kind of like I woke up with this kind of thought, a smudge on the canvas of creation. And I thought, wow, that's a cool line, a smudge on the canvas of creation. And I thought, this is something that I need to write something. I need to take this and build on it. And then I wrote something called Man of Valor. And yes, in 2013, I sent off my manuscript to be professionally critiqued by Writers' Workshop in the UK. And this was the original response. They gave you, a full 3 or 4 page critique. But it opened with, well done, your book in terms of scope and structure and quality is among the best that has been my lot to read over the past couple of years. A guy called Philip Womack, who was a writer himself and also doing things. So I took that and thought, wow, hope, look, this is hope. Because I was just trying to find out, am I good at this writing thing? Do I have a chance here? And I had this really, really positive experience and a lot of hope dawning. However, hope deferred. So a process of years and years of writing and rewriting, of paying for critiques, not of the whole manuscript, but whether it was someone in America or in England or here in Aotearoa, New Zealand, getting edits done, attending workshops, and then changing the name of my manuscript. So it was Man of Valor, no, it wasn't very good. Age of Valor, a High Calling, yeah, and then Redemption's Fall. And I've been querying to agents from the start of 2018. So I might have done a little bit of querying before that when, following Philip Womack's report for me and his critique in 2013, I did send some of those manuscripts out in querying. So I did have about a couple of years there. And that's when I didn't really get much traction and I went back to it. So I did some real active querying from my revised manuscript in 2018. And yes, probably had about over 350 rejections. I had a few requests for full manuscripts. So I had a few really positive comments saying, really good writer, but yeah, love the concept of this, but, and all those kind of buts that came in. And so I went, oh, okay, right, hope deferred. Meanwhile, I had another set of idea inspired by my daughter's battle with severe food allergies. So this is Michaela, and she's doing this because she's just been at a Girl Guide camp, a Girl Guide Jamboree camp. So Michaela has severe food allergies, she has quite severe anxiety, and she has ADHD and dyspraxia. So she's a real high achiever. She doesn't just take one challenge in her life, she takes on as many as she possibly can. And so this is something that was just a seed of an idea that was bubbling in the background. And I'll just tell a little bit about Michaela. This is if we go to any restaurant, which is quite a major thing for us as a family. So it's not an easy thing. So Michaela can't just pop out to the cafe with her friends. She can't go to a restaurant. If we have a family celebration with a Wyatt family, with any kind of meal outside, we need to talk to the chef, and Michaela gives this card. So this is a little card she prints out, and she is and she's just had these tests done. So she's 20 now, and we first kind of caught wind of this, or when she was 6 months old, and my wife Kimberly gave her a little bit of muesli, and she had a reaction, and as we do think it was a little God moment where Kimberly just went, oh my goodness, it's an allergic reaction. We had no idea of food allergies before then, but she just went, it's an allergic reaction, and responded straight away. And then, so in her life, this is what Michaela's had to deal with: allergies to dairy, egg, kiwi fruit, tree nuts, and then recently, like the last few years, gluten as well. So they are quite severe. Michaela carries a EpiPen with her the whole time. And she also has got asthma. So it's like wonderful. She is very positive and very active. As I said, she's in her last year of university. She is a very strong advocate for girl guiding. She's done the Queen's Guide, which is the top award in girl guiding. So she's done all of that. And so I guess I had a little bit of inspiration from her challenges and her experience and the experience that we have as a family to try and deal with this quite hard situation. And I guess also a little bit of inspiration because many books out there, and many in the middle grade sphere, or even I guess in the YA sphere, is that there are the lead characters or the protagonists have some kind of hidden magical ability. So they have something that they find out that they can do. Either they, like Percy Jackson, half man, half god, or Harry Potter, he's a magician. So there's some wizarding power there. So I'm a magician, that's very bad. My daughter will tell me off. So there is something there, and even that element that you find this hidden power within you that's come from outside. And I guess the inspiration for me and what Michaela is that she's found this hidden power within her, the strength to kind of work through the things in her life, but there's no extra ability she's had. Yeah, so that was a little bit of talk about the family. And so what happened is I jumped to this year, January 2022. I joined MGems on Twitter, trying to just connect with other people. Ashley White, another wonderful Monarch author who's just had her The Impossible Girl novel released. Wonderful book. Invites Jen to share at MGems. I watched the recording. I queried Jen at Monarch, and she says no for Redemption's Fall. And Jen asks, "You got anything else?" And I say, yes, I actually have been working on this other manuscript. And I had actually taken that other manuscript out to queries. So I had about 50 to 60 rejections on Maggie. This is what it's called, Maggie and the Mountain of Lig. So a 12-year-old anxiety-riddled heroine only surviving life thanks to her asthma inhaler and EpiPen. Respected organization, a secret program, an impossible heist, and a magical fight to save the world. And that's going to be released next year in April. I just noticed this, Jen. I don't know if you did that. I thought because when we signed the contract, in New Zealand we put our we go like today. We'd say, well, it's 14th of August, so we go 14/8/22. But I know in America and other places you would actually put the month first, so you would go 8/14. So this one, there's no confusion. It goes 4/4. It's April the 4th. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So it's been a long journey for me as a writer. Something that had been as a 10-year-old that I'd actually been involved with. Then getting some inspiration and wanting to write a book that matters, to encourage people to consider God or the gospel through fantasy, through humor, through a vehicle they can enter in. Writing a book, getting really good feedback about that book, and then getting a whole lot of rejections. Many rejections. Not giving up, just keeping going, and then through, I guess, everyday life, seeing the challenges in everyday life, having a spark of an idea and working on that idea, and then keeping going. So it's been a long journey for me, and I'm thrilled to be at a stage where I'm saying I've got a book to be published next year. I'm so grateful to Monarch and to Jen and to the other authors out there. It's a wonderful, supportive community that I'm just starting to get involved with. And my final slide is I thought a verse in Ephesians 3:20-21. Now, to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is worked within us, to him be the glory in the church and in Christ Jesus throughout all generations, forever and ever. Amen. Okay, that's my presentation. So Jen, you can jump back on.
Absolutely love everything you've shared, Mark. So I am the blessed one that had an opportunity to meet you and get redemptions full.
Yeah.
And when you query first, the best query letter, if anybody wants tips about query letters, Mark had the best query letter I've ever read, and I get tons of them.
Yeah.
He really did. You could really tell that Mark had done his research, that he'd actually watched the video. He kind of knew what we were about. But when I read Redemption's Full, even though it was a no, your work has heart. Your characters have that inner strength that you want to cheer on. And you have this quality of your writing that is so unique. And I will tell Mark, and I'm telling all of you now, that it's not often when someone says no and then says, but do you have anything else?
Yeah.
Because usually that no is like, well, that's no, it's not for me, not the right time. But there was just something in my spirit that said, keep asking. And I do want Mark. I have encouraged Mark to continue working on Gideon because I love Gideon. But it wasn't just right at that moment. Maggie was what was meant to be your debut.
Right. Nice. Yeah.
Maggie was meant to be your debut.
Nice.
And thinking about honoring Michaela in that story and having pictures that Corinne is working on right now for an illustrated cover for you, Mark. I cannot wait to see Maggie and the Mountain of Light, how it's all come together. But just an amazing story. You have our lead editor, Haley, laughing out loud.
Hey.
Parts behind the scenes in the group chat about Mark's hilarious way of writing and his quirkiness and some of the dialogue pieces. You know, we had Luke earlier talking about character development through dialogue. Mark, y'all, cannot wait for y'all to meet Maggie. So, Mark, I will tell you that we have the behind the scenes love of Maggie, and we can't wait for others to have Maggie on their bookshelves. And what had you prompting you to get onto Twitter and just find a community? Like, how did you even get up with MGMs?
Yeah, good question. It was just one of those things that I realized in Aotearoa, New Zealand. So I am at the bottom of the world. I am, you know, we do have a writing community in New Zealand, but it's a fairly small one, and it is quite hard to, you know, connect at times. And so I thought, well, I need to start connecting with people, and how do you do that? And then so I was looking at recommendations, and you know, the Twitter community is a really positive community for writers. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to be writing a middle grade, and you know, hadn't had any experience in writing middle grade, read Harry Potter with my daughter, obviously, and yes, brilliant. And I've been reading some other middle grade stuff as well. But I was going, okay, I need to be more connected to a middle grade community. And so I happened to see the invitation put out there on Twitter about joining one of the MG communities, and then I joined, and it happened to be the same one that Ashley was in. And that was, you know, I didn't know Ashley at all. I didn't know anybody else, but I joined it, was accepted, and then posted. And then Ashley at the beginning of the year said, oh, hey, I've got my wonderful publisher, Jen, is going to be talking. Please get on. And the time didn't work for me again in New Zealand, but I was able to watch the recording, and then here we are. Yeah.
Here we are. And it's been a quick turnaround to the point where we had to adjust Mark's schedule. And Mark, that 4-4, I was laughing in the comments earlier because it didn't even dawn on me. But when you guys were signing your contract, I'm like, that's not today's date.
Yeah.
What can we rewrite this date?
Yeah, so it's quite funny. Yeah, we've taken out any confusion there. It's the 4th of the 4th.
4-4. Mark's is coming. But Mark's wasn't coming in April. And it's because of your dedication to your craft and your time that you jump in and move through edits.
Yeah. I'm just excited to do it. It's as they say, writing can be quite lonely. You're working away, and you over a long period of time. Also, you have the little doubts creep in, the little foxes that spoil the little. And sometimes when you get the edits back, you go, "Oh, good. Oh, look," and then you just want to get in and get. It gives you a little momentum to keep going, a little boost, even though it's and I've found it to be a really positive experience. Really helpful and strengthening, and I've really seen it from the point of view as these are wonderful professional people that want to make this manuscript as strong as it can be.
Lift it up.
Yeah.
And girl guiding, for those of you who may not know that are listening, this is the Girl Scouts for us in America. And Mark, creating your own Wayfinder girls. And that was just so phenomenal of how fast that came to you. Like, did you have that idea? Or when we started talking about, did you go and spend a lot of time?
And that's a good point, Jen. So I actually had, when I started querying for Maggie, I was saying Maggie is a girl guide. And I had the whole thing as being girl guiding. And Jen rightly pointed out, well, you might run into some issues with, copyright and with writing about an actual organization that exists, the Girl Scouts and Girl Guides. And I was a little bit like, no, that's okay. There's been other books that written about them in the past, like in 1920 and 1930. And then it just took a moment to say, well, hang on, is it that important that they are girl guiding? I thought, no, it's not. And then Jen made a comment about, imagine the things you can do if you weren't limited to the girl guides. I went, oh yeah. And so it was like in an afternoon, I just went, that's a good idea. What could they call them? And I thought about, charting a path and about finding a way. And I thought about, and the song that was big last year about the Waymaker. And so I just kind of used a little bit of that and thought the Wayfinder girls. And so then I was just had some fun creating a fictional organization that is very, very closely, looks like the Girl Guide and Girl Scouts.
Like you would believe that this would be a real life place. And you would believe that the Wayfinder girls are so real with their structure, routines, and setup because Mark did his due diligence and really made an authentic organization that is unique, yet relatable, but very special. And your 3 stars and your logo and your songs and your whole dynamic across different centers of the Wayfinder, like Mark. Creativity just pouring from you, Mark. And I want Mark's merch. I'm just letting you guys know it's not just going to be the hoodie. It's going to be the hoodie, the shirt, everything. Like really, absolutely have loved to see Maggie from beginning to now. And seeing now our cover process, we're about to step into arcs. So for those of you who may say, oh, we could see Maggie ahead of time. We love art teams. They help us to launch our book. They help us to provide honest reviews. So we really appreciate the readers and the community support that Monarch has received. And Rachel has a question for you. She said, what's your advice on how to stay positive and keep going in the face of query rejection?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rachel. And that's it's not an easy one. I guess my advice is to know why you're writing and to realize that what you do is beneficial for you and the world. And it's a tricky one because it can be quite hard. It can be quite hard in the trenches, as they call them, and you're there and you're querying and you're not getting any kind of feedback or positive reinforcement. So to have people that believe in you, supporting you, part of a community that will encourage you because people are all going through this together. And then as I did, I was really, really working hard on one manuscript and I was getting edits done and critiques done and rejections, and then it was another seed of an idea. So I guess what the advice is to keep writing, and it's hard to do that when you're getting rejections, but then maybe to put what you're writing aside and work on something else. Yeah, for me, I guess I just had this nagging sense that I didn't want to let it go, that I didn't want to be 10 years in the future and regretting not keeping going. Yeah.
Ruth asked, was there a certain aspect of your writing that you found especially difficult? And if so, how did you overcome that challenge?
Yeah, see, I'm like the book of Mark, the Gospel of Mark, I like action. I like action and dialogue, and I'm not really a big descriptive writer. And so it was quite funny having some of the things there. Like I know one comment, Jen says, well, what shoes are they wearing? Middle grade readers really like to know shoes. And I was going, what the heck? What do you mean shoes? And so for me, it was difficult to add in the detail, because I am a quite a big picture creative thinker, and so I'm the bigger creative concepts I can get on straight away. The dialogue, the humor, I find all right, but then there's always things like what else is happening here? How do you describe what they see and what they're wearing? And I was going, I don't care. So that was yeah. That was
The readers will care what the Wayfinder girls are wearing.
I'm like, Luke's with me. Dialogue and action. That's all you need. And see the Gospel of Mark. Hey, that's just go boom, 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 boom.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. So, Luke, you've got a fan here. You and Mark need to definitely hook up because Luke just finished the middle grades too.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So, guys, I really just want to say, that we got congratulations on your upcoming launch.
Yeah, kia ora. Thank you. Thank you, Mama.
So, right around the corner, it's going to be released. You know how fast time flies when you're busy.
Yeah.
Do you think now, like looking where you are now, like you've had to open up social media for Author World, connect with writers, join groups, start, developing that style online. Like, what advice do you have for people that are seeing you now? You're getting ready to be published, but there's still a lot of other things working. What advice do you have for them?
I guess the biggest advice is just start. It's really to do that. I've got huge amounts to learn. I've got I'm only at the start of the journey, but you've just got to start and walk those steps, and then people will come and walk alongside you as well and help you on the journey, and to be open to those people that are going to help you just progress that little bit further.
Last words of wisdom from Mark in New Zealand. You're going to have to teach me some phrases, because in the middle of Ashley's launch, of course, you're going to put some things in your letter, and I'm like, wait, we haven't proofread this. I don't know how to.
Yeah, so kia ora is a really nice little term in New Zealand, and so it's you just say like kia ora, and kia ora can be a greeting, and also you can actually say kia ora if someone says something good and you agree with them. And then the little thing that I signed off with was ngā mihi, which is thank you and goodbye. So, but kia ora is a really nice New Zealand greeting that we use quite a lot. So kia ora, I'm Mark.
So I want to thank you for spending your time, your early morning.
Yes.
It's fun when we're trying to organize events and we know that we have international. It's like, can you give me the latest time slot? Because we've been running this all day, and Mark is basically, like, some of them are still asleep. But that's the beauty of having internet and opportunities to connect with people online, is that we can have this. It's recorded. People can share it out. If they missed it because of a time zone or family commitment or running errands and responsibilities, they're always able to pop in and meet Mark, meet Maggie, and see the inspirations behind a wonderful middle grade fantasy. Absolutely love Maggie and the Mountain of Light. Ruth, you guys are going to love it because what Mark has done is he's created not only a book that matters, but it's a book that matters for representation too. And there's so many solid themes there, Mark, like just the whole journey, the middle grade journey of decisions and choices and integrity and mistakes and learning from them and not giving up and the doubts and anxieties. It's all wrapped up in fantasy.
Yeah.
My last question, did you make an A on that paper?
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, it was probably one of my highest grade papers.
Professor's name and say, look where Mark is now. He's fantasy and he is working the word through fantasy. So Mark, congrats on the A, the book. So happy to see you, and I hope that you have a blessed one. We're about to be with Shelly Mack right now, guys. So stay tuned.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Mark.